it made no sense for them to still have Bobby Hull as a part of the organization. You know what's interesting too, Jay? You notice nobody cares.
No, I have not seen anyone.
Nobody cares.
I thought for sure as soon as the news broke, there'd be a certain group of people, he's been canceled, and this is just another. No. Everybody knew this stuff about Bobby, and Ben Pope did a good job of documenting it in his piece today. In 1987, Bobby was convicted of assaulting a police officer who intervened in an argument between Hull and his then-wife, Deborah. In 2002, his previous wife, Joanne, recounted a fight in which Hull beat her in the head with a steel-heeled shoe, then held her off a balcony in Hawaii. His daughter, Michelle, who became a defense lawyer for female abuse victims, detailed his history of alcoholism in that same documentary. And, of course, in 1997, a Russian publication quoted Hull as saying, quote, Hitler had some good ideas, end quote, claiming that the black population was growing too fast. He denied those comments and sued the publication, but that's just a brief history of the things that are publicly known.
Yeah, and it could have been an easy move then. And we should mention, too, in that list of things that Jamie Faulkner and Danny Wirtz have done well, that there was also an abusive athletic trainer in one of their minor league teams. And after a team inquest was let go. And these things were not, what I do think is a positive is that they didn't try to publicize these moves themselves. You know what I mean? Like they didn't trumpet, hey,
look what
we got
did.
rid of this guy. Look what we did.
Yep.
They're letting their actions speak more than trying to use it as mitigating factors for everything else that has been going wrong. And they could have on this one, especially needing the good PR after the Rocky debacle or whatever we're calling that now that they're still digging out from. But that if there's probably more. Frankly, there's probably going to be more, considering everything that had been up for an organization this large that had been allowed to metastasize for so long.
I'm glad you mentioned the fact that they did not publicize it because, as Bruce Levine reported yesterday, this happened in November. This is not something that just, oh boy, Rocky stepped in it. Bobby Hull, you're no longer ambassador. Nope, this is something they did behind the scenes. And as far as I know, they've not published an official statement like to the media yet. I think they made a statement when the news broke, and I know Bruce had a little bit of a quote, but there wasn't a big press release about it. It hasn't been this big thing on their website or anything like that. I think I'm very pleased with the way Danny and Jamie Faulkner are handling things. I think they're doing things very well, and from what I'm told, Rocky is more of a figurehead. He's not really involved in the day-to-day.
I know, but this is why they should have codified that.
I agree.
They absolutely very easily could have said and announced that he is stepping aside from day-to-day responsibilities. It would have been a very savvy PR move to make that official because it is already the case. That's an easy one for them. How has all that's transpired recently with the Blackhawks affected their reputation or standing relative to the rest of the NHL? Does any of this resonate among agents, players, potential free agents? Like, how much does this turmoil actually affect their GM search, everything else that's going on?
I don't think it affects the players and coaching search as much as maybe we would. I know this sounds weird, as maybe we would hope. You would hope that some players and coaches would be like, no, I'm not going to that organization unless things change, for the better and it's obvious. But it remains an original six team. It's a legacy franchise, all those sort of things. It's still a terrific job to land if you're an NHL player or coaching candidate or GM candidate. I've seen the pushback in the fan base. I've had lifelong fans just pretty much throw their hands up in the air and say, I'm done. And you get that every now and again when they lose a playoff game or they make a trade people don't like. This is different. People are saying, I can't wear my Hawk stuff anymore. It just feels gross. It feels bad to put on my hat or my hoodie or whatever, and I'm just going to put them in my closet for a while and figure it out later. And I can't argue with those people. It's been, look, the lack of competitive hockey is one thing, but when it's franchise embarrassment after franchise embarrassment after franchise embarrassment, that's when it really becomes difficult to remain a fan. And look, there was a time I said to James, my podcast partner, when the Kyle Beach stuff was going on, I talked, in our private conversations, I said, if Sam Bowman is still part of this thing, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like,
wow.
I don't know if I want to just sit here and pretend like everything's okay. And we don't. We acknowledge these things when they happen, but the fact that Danny and Jamie Faulkner have done a decent job of rooting out the bad pieces, be it Bobby Hull, be it Stan Bowman, be it Al McIsaac, whatever, it's kept me kind of, okay, I'm going to try to focus on the hockey and address the bad stuff when it comes, but there's only so many of these moments that fans can be expected to tolerate.
Maybe the anticipated shock to the system of a long overdue change of a racist logo is more doable than we thought. And maybe from a symbolic perspective, that some of the lessons that you learn is like, oh, wait a second, nobody cared. Like maybe you'd be okay if you decide to sundown that logo.
Here's the thing. Even if people would get mad about it, and there will be people that are mad about it, they'll get over it in a week. Just don't call yourself the Commanders.
Right.
Come up with something better. You can still be the Blackhawks and put a Black Hawk on your jersey. It's overdue. It's time. Everyone knows it's coming. There's no way that, and I think, Danny sort of alluded to that in the town hall too. We continue our conversations with Native American leaders and organizations.
I don't need you to do that. I just need you to move on to a different logo.
Yes, and I do think it's coming. I think if it was to happen right now, it might seem a little bit phony or manufactured. I could see it happening in the offseason.
But there's no this offseason?
Maybe. I don't know. That's based on nothing. I don't have any inside information on that. I'm just saying it's hard to do mid-season, but they could say as soon as the Hawks are eliminated from the playoffs and they're on the golf course, by the way, next year will be known as the Blackhawks, and here's a new logo. Enjoy the summer, everybody. And people will be, I can't believe my grandpappy wore the Indian head and I'm doing the same. Okay, fine. You're mad and you'll be fine. It'll be okay.
I just think you have to look about how to take advantage of your own errors, your own nadir. That this, because you kind of hit rock bottom in some ways, you may not get a chance like this again. That if in fact you wait, maybe you hire a kick-ass general manager, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of people flying around out there, and you people start coming back. You don't want to do it then. Like now you've got cover. You got people, like you say, you got people who don't want to wear your stuff, who are saying it's in my closet. This is, and I know we're speaking anecdotally here, but this is yet another window of opportunity for them to just push a button on something that has been going on with some shadow efforts behind the scenes for a long time. We've seen the leaks of the possible alternate logos, and they look awesome.
Well, that one does not. The one with like the real sharp feathers.
No. That one.
We won't be
weird.
Doing that.
but this is because you are so far out of the consciousness, and because you've put yourself in this place in the wilderness. You might as well take advantage of the opportunity to relaunch, rebrand, and that way people the shock to the system is easier for people to deal with. And maybe somebody say, you know what, I don't have to wear the old stuff anymore. Now I'm going to get the new stuff.
Of course, and they've got probably 25 concepts ready to go. And what I would do, if they don't just do it, overnight sort of a thing, you reveal a new third jersey next year that does not have a Native American logo on it at all. And you gauge the reaction to that logo, see how the alternate jersey sells, put it on every sweatshirt you can, and then say, oh, this was so popular, we're changing to it permanently. And the problem is solved. And again, you can't just worry about the people that are going to be mad. There's always going to be people that are going to be mad. There's always people that will just refuse to understand why it's a problem and why it should change. But you can't worry about that. You can't worry about those people. You've got to do what's right. And I think based on the way this leadership group has shown since they sort of took over, I think it is coming, and I think it's coming sooner than later.